What's goody? It's wait, what? Hold on. Hold on. What's goody? We back. Respect the tilt. It's your boy, the Great Robino, with them other boys, Flyman and JT. Say something.
It's JT right here. ASMR JT.
Yo, what it do? It's your boy, Flyman. Let's get it.
Yeah, and today, for this podcast, we're going to be talking about Disney Plus and some of the nostalgia from Disney shows and movies. Alright, let's get into this.
Alright, so Disney Plus recently came out, and basically it's just a whole new streaming platform for watching Disney shows. And it's kind of competing with Netflix, Hulu, and all the other streaming platforms, except it has all of like Disney's old IPs on it. So it has things from like Sandlot to Treasure Planet to like High School Musical, and maybe even the newer stuff that I'm not really caught up on. It has a few things dating for all the way back from like 1950s even. Like, I don't know if Mary Poppins or something, but I don't think I'll personally watch those all the way back then, just because I don't know if they'll hold up as well compared to like some of the ones from the 90s that I enjoyed a lot. But I think first we should talk about like the sustainability of what Disney Plus will do. And I think off the rip, a lot of my friends were really excited about Disney Plus just because a lot of them grew up with Disney Channel and stuff like that. And it has like so many shows that were pretty I want to say like influential, but they were like a big parts of our like childhoods. Like for me personally, I remember waking up before like maybe at like 6:30, and then before I would have to go to school at like 8 or something, and I would watch Jackie Chan Adventures at like 6:30, and then I think American Dragon Jake Long came on at like 7. So I know for me personally, like the shows were definitely like conducive to my creativity in the classroom, and I also feel like it was very diverse in the type of products that they had and the different IPs that they showed. Like so one of my favorite ones is obviously Lilo and Stitch, which is about a little Hawaiian girl who has no parents right now, lives with her sister, and alien crash lands and she befriends the alien, and basically takes him in as like a pet. And like those movies even adapted into a television show, which both of them are really dope. And there's not a lot of Hawaiian representation. Like if you think about it, like the gap between Lilo and Stitch and Moana was like pretty steep, unless like you think of like Hawaii 5-0 or whatever, but like not so much for things like on Disney Channel.
Did that have Hawaiian people? Hawaiian 5-0?
I think they had Asian people. I don't remember if they had Hawaiian people specific. I think there were some Hawaiians, but yeah, it was pretty. It wasn't super Hawaiian. It was like very stereotypically Hawaiian too. It was like, yeah, they got all the Hawaiian shirts, and like every now and then you'll see like flame throwing and stuff like that. But I think Disney Plus is going to be really hot right now just because there's so many shows on there, and there's so many people who grew up in that time period. Like I think a lot of people who had the shows from the 90s and the early 2000s are like in their 20s and 30s, and they can easily afford to get Disney Plus for a year if they don't want to do like the monthly subscription, just because it's pretty cheap. It's like $6 a month, and like Verizon, apparently like it's a year free if you have like a certain plan with them, and you can even get it with like Hulu and ESPN Plus or something like that. And it's pretty accessible, I think, which is kind of weird to me. I feel like they would have tried to come out the gates like pricey, but they're kind of keeping it pretty tame right now. Like $6 a month isn't too pricey. I'm already thinking about getting it.
Well, didn't Netflix start off really well?
7. Netflix started at maybe like 8 or 10. I can't.
Yeah, but Netflix started out sending DVDs to people's places.
Well, Yeah, I hardly remember those days when it was doing
That was kind of funny because you just get it in the mail and you mailed that thing back,
that.
and
Yeah, I
now it's all
remember
like now you're streaming it.
I did that for the Teen Titans.
Yup. Low key, Disney's kind of late to the game, but they're coming in kind of strong. Like their launch lineup is huge. There's so much content on here. I will say, I do not see American Dragon Jake Long, which was a show that I liked a lot.
Travesty.
Yeah, I feel like that was one of the good representations of Asian American culture, not just like Asian culture, you know what I mean? It's like a lot of people don't know that there's kind of like a big difference between Asian American and Asian, you know? That was one show I was in particular like really excited to watch, but I mean, I could probably find it somewhere else in a not so legal way. But some shows I'm pretty excited about would be Kim Possible. That show was pretty lit, even though that show was lit. I want to watch the Lilo and Stitch series because I remember there was this game where you played like the one that just like to eat a lot, and you just had to get an ice cream cone, and you just had to pick up all this stuff without it falling. That was
I
kind of
remember
fun.
that. I remember that.
I was on that for a lot for no reason.
Didn't he have like a sandwich one too? Where you have
Yeah, it's a sandwich. Yeah, that's what it was funny. I like the characters in that show. It's pretty hilarious. And Emperor's New School, because I like Emperor's New Groove a lot. That was a good movie.
Apparently, that's an underrated movie.
I think it's underrated.
And not a lot of people knew about it.
It's pretty good. Like when I was at college, there were people who'd never heard of it, and they're watching it for the first time, and they thought it was hilarious. And they were like, they didn't know who the main actress was. They're like, "Who's that voice?" I was like, "That's David Spade." Kind of a goofy guy. And that one dude who has that funny, what's his name? He plays Kronk.
Yeah, that dude always did voice acting for lots of cartoons.
Yeah, dude, his voice acting.
I just don't know his name though.
Yeah, I forgot his name. Patrick Warburton. I think that's it.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, he had the funniest character dialogue in that movie.
Always talking to himself.
And that crazy girl's name, Yzma.
Oh,
Pull the lever, Kronk. That was a banger. I think as far as movies go, I guess some of the movies were like pretty good. I mean, they all kind of follow the same trope. So I might watch all the Pirates of the Caribbean because I never got into that. Oh, Wendy Wu Homecoming Warrior. I remember that one.
It
was about a Chinese girl who it's kind of like Mulan in the modern age. She like has to become a warrior and defeat somebody or something, and she gets powers or whatever, but at the same time she just wants to be a normal girl and go to prom or whatever. Go to homecoming or something.
Is that the one with the
girl from Sweet Life?
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
Yep.
Brenda Song, I think?
Yeah, that's her name. And I found that to be I'm pretty biased, but I found it to be a pretty good movie. And all the classic like cartoon movies like Atlantis, Treasure Planet, those are definitely some stuff that I love.
Also ones apparently that are underrated and not many people knew about.
Yeah, for real.
Treasure Planet was my stuff though.
Oh man, that was crazy. That plot threw me for a loop. I didn't know whether I should like that man or should hate him. He played with my emotions the whole time. Oh, dude, early 2000s sports movies too were crazy.
Wasn't there? I don't know if it was a Disney movie, but The Mighty Ducks, was that a Disney movie?
Oh, dude, I wonder. I feel like it might have been, right? Dude, Mighty Ducks was lit. I'm looking at the list right now. There's quite. I mean,
then you got what, like Darkwing Duck and then DuckTales.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
There's the movie The Rookie, which is about. I always get the Rookie and Rookie of the Year mixed up, but one of them has this kid who I think he breaks his arm and accidentally becomes like a professional pitcher. And the other one's about this dude who's kind of down and out and just wants to like play baseball, and like he just starts throwing heaters. All of it's like
heaters on the ski.
Yes, sir.
Does Disney have the Rescue Rangers?
They might.
That's a question.
Didn't Disney also have all the earbuds and those
Oh
types of movies too?
Yeah, but they do have the Rescue Rangers, Rob.
Hey,
That's that's your stuff, huh?
All right, it's your boy Flyman up. Let's see. Disney Plus and its future. Well, first off, I think Disney, right off the bat, is like a monopoly. Okay, at this point, they have their hands in everything and a lot of stuff. And Disney has access to two of the most biggest franchises right now
Mm-hmm.
that will probably control the box office in the future of TV shows and movies altogether.
2 different seasons too, spring and winter season.
Mhm.
Come on,
see,
man.
bro, that's
Yep.
what I was gonna say.
Yep. So they have Star Wars and Marvel. Okay. Now, everybody has their thoughts on the Star Wars and the new Star Wars, things like that. I still really enjoy them, but I think there's no denying that pretty much all the Marvel movies, for the most part, are universally loved and adored and a part of pop culture. And it's quite crazy to think about. I don't know. There's a time where, I don't know, liking superheroes was kind of whack. Now, if you don't like superheroes, you're whack. and and you know, and how just certain Marvel heroes are like they're really mainstream. Like my son has a Black Panther toothbrush and it's lit. I'm like, bro, I never thought I'd see the day that Black Panther has toothbrushes and products.
It's kind of funny because like the generation when comic books were coming out,
Right.
they kind of took a brunt of the bullying and getting beat up for. But like as they grew up and then everyone else grew up, those people who are getting beat up are now like maybe in their 40s and 50s, and now their kids are all over it, and now everyone's kids are all over it. So now it's the cool thing. It's crazy.
It's cool. Yep. So, I think like, Disney Plus for me, that's the most exciting thing. I love Marvel and I love Star Wars, even throughout the good and bad of both of those franchises.
Mhm.
And Disney seems to really be putting that types of stuff at the forefront, right? So I guess that leads me into their biggest opener, and I guess the biggest draw they might have to Disney Plus right now is what? The Mandalorian. Okay.
Mm.
Right. And I have checked out the first 2 episodes. I can give my thoughts on that. I think it's an awesome series, super fun. I think it takes back, I don't know what people couldn't initially think of Star Wars. Maybe when they first saw it all those years ago,
Mhm.
back with the OT, the original trilogy and stuff. And it was kind of funny. I was thinking that the series was going to be, super, I guess, just super dark and super gritty. And I guess it still has some of that grit and grime to it, like a Western and
Mm.
stuff like that. But it's more, I don't know, more fun, a lot more fun than what I thought it was going to be. And that is quite okay. Like, I actually really enjoy it. And I think they were smart doing that because they can appeal to both the older audience with the grit and grime of things and stuff like that, and just kind of just honestly how badass he is. And they got the fun of it so that a kid could really be access it and attach to it. Because I mean, you got to think about it, right? Sure, Disney Plus has, all these Marvel properties and Star Wars properties and things like that. But what has Disney always strived on and really thrived on is
Them
appealing.
kids.
Yes, appealing to the kids. Exactly.
Getting money from them kids.
Right. And them kids be in them parents' pockets. So that's the biggest thing. And of course they have the nostalgia stuff of all the series and all the old movies and all those things like that, right? The nostalgia of that, the draw of that. But I think the kids come first and foremost for Disney Plus, at least for right now, right? But all the Marvel stuff will, I think, eventually bring in the older crowd and the Star Wars series and stuff like that too.
Yo, is the what is it? Falcon and the Winter Soldier, is that a Disney Plus exclusive?
Yeah, it is a Disney Plus exclusive, and I think it's one of the next ones coming out. And I mean, the Disney Plus series have plans on doing some series on some pretty dark characters and violent characters, in my opinion, with Moon Knight. So it's pretty crazy and pretty violent. So I wonder how dark of things will get for them.
It'll
And
be like Daredevil.
right, and which I do hope they bring those back and stuff to Disney Plus platform, but we'll see. Um, like I said, though, I guess my biggest worry is that everything is so accessible by all crowds. Will they have the guts to, but I guess, since Disney has their hand in Hulu now, maybe they'll put that types of stuff on Hulu, the more adult themed platform. Like maybe that's the case. Let's see. But yeah, The Mandalorian's awesome. I think another cool aspect to the Disney Plus thing that I think will make them a lot of money is the fact that they've opened up the vault, right? If you guys know what the vault is?
Oh yeah.
Nah.
Right. So I guess basically Disney, a lot of their old movies, they vaulted, meaning like they stopped making distributions of it, copies of it, and things like that. So this is like their old stuff, like Snow White and the Seven Dwarves and like Dumbo. Like you couldn't access it anywhere unless you had the old DVDs or VHSs or stuff like that, right? So with Disney Plus, they opened up the vault, right? So a lot of their old stuff is now watchable, which I guess is kind of funny because I know I saw with articles and reports talking about kind of like, how some of the old stuff back then was kind of like insensitive. Like I guess Dumbo had black crows, and I guess the black crows were akin to black people, and so they put warnings on a lot of the old stuff.
That's
like,
smart.
yeah, that was like this may contain cultural. I guess I don't think it was indecencies or just something words to that effect, like cultural insensitivity.
Is that
Or something like that.
appropriation?
Yeah.
Cultural appropriation is more like when you try to claim another culture as your own.
Right. You're right. That is it, Justin. But yeah. So, and Justin, you touched on this too about the whole value of Disney Plus and stuff like that. What's about $7 a month, and then with Hulu and ESPN Plus included, you get $6. But that is Hulu with ads, so let's not forget that. But so the Hulu bundle is very good. I'm not too sure on the ESPN Plus on kind of what that service all offers. I just know playing fantasy football and looking at articles, and it'd be like, you can only read this article if it's ESPN Plus. I'm like, that's bullshit.
Dang. Time to get your money.
Right. Some bogus stuff right there. I mean, but I'd watch it during football, basketball season, if I can get access to watching more games. Yeah, I think that's all I have, guys.
Alright, so I guess now it's your boy, the Great Robino's turn. And, I don't really have much to add on to what JT and Flyman said. But I do agree with what Flyman said about Disney being a monopoly. Like, Disney Plus, it seems nice and all, but I think they're starting to become, I think it's a vertical monopoly. The one where they have, like, a slice. It's not like they own everything across something, because that would be a horizontal. The vertical, I think, is where if you're thinking manufacturing, they own the manufacturers,
like it's in the stream, right? So
Yeah, so
they
that's where it leads into the streaming. They have their own streaming service
Mm.
where you can only get certain things from that.
so
And
basically like sorry to keep interrupting you, but basically like digital entertainment, right? So it
yeah,
goes from the streaming to the movies to the TV shows, right?
yeah. And then like what you were saying about them opening up the vault, you're only gonna be able to see that on their streaming service. You wouldn't be able to go to Netflix or
Mhm.
other things or buy those movies.
So does that mean they're gonna pull their stuff from Netflix and Hulu?
Yeah. Well, but with the stuff that they bought, they actually have a huge stake in Hulu.
Oh, okay.
So that's why Hulu is bundled, and ESPN too. That's why it's bundled with Disney Plus, because they both have huge stakes in that. So they can control. I mean, ultimately, like they have the final say and final, the biggest stake in Hulu now in ESPN. So that's why I was saying maybe a lot of their like more mature type shows, like when it comes to like the Moon Knights and maybe Daredevil and stuff, if they ever bring that back, would probably more than likely be on Hulu.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. But in terms of Disney Plus, I didn't actually look too much into it at first. I wasn't all that big on it, but I might give it a look now.
Mm-hmm.
I think,
all these things.
yeah, I think maybe you could like start a trial and give a good look into how it seems. But I think, at least for me, right, my biggest thing would be, I think a lot of the stuff it wouldn't even be worth it until everything is out. Like they build up a good like library of like
Right.
originals and stuff like that. Because at least for me, like watching The Mandalorian, like I would rewatch that probably honestly over and over again. Like I enjoyed the first episode so much, and I think they have so much rewatchability. But I mean, like I can only do that for what for however long it's gonna be out.
Yeah,
So-
so what? That's like one of those things where you pick up on different things each time you watch it.
And are you talking about in terms of like just Disney Plus? Like,
Well, it's like say you're going to rewatch that show. It's like you rewatch it. And it's
Yeah.
like, oh, I didn't know, or I didn't
Yeah.
notice this before, or something like that.
yeah, it has lots of Easter eggs, and like I said, the show is just fun. It just puts a smile on your face. Quite honestly.
Come to think of it, I'm not sure if a lot of the Disney shows have a huge bingeability aspect to it. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, I could tell you the Mandalorian does.
does it?
I'm quite upset that I can't binge it, and I'm also I don't know if it's going to keep following this track, or if their other series are going to follow this method. But the Mandalorian, the first episode was maybe about close to 40 minutes, and then the second episode was 30 minutes, and I guess only thing that bugged me was that it was so short, but I guess it also
Right.
shows how good the show is, because I was so upset that I wanted
Okay.
to see more, and I was having so much fun.
Yeah.
I wanted to see more. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I wonder if they're going to keep doing that for the rest of their series, and I also wonder if they have such short episodes just because the budgets of all those shows are so big and stuff. I wonder if
Yeah.
it's maybe like compensation thing. I don't.
Yeah. And I bring up bingeability because I feel like a lot of these shows aren't as cohesive as like the shows are now. Like, like you watch one episode and then the next episode will carry on based off that. I feel like a lot of these may not particularly be in like one particular timeline. You know what I mean?
I guess it would depend on the type, right? Because I know
Yeah.
one of their shows is like a High School Musical series or whatever, right? And I wonder. I mean, I haven't watched it. I'm not too particularly a
Yeah.
fan of musicals, but I guess I don't know. For those that have seen it, I just wonder if is it like a fun, self-contained episode each week? Because if that's the case, a weekly model would follow that. But I think when you have just stories that are leading up to something, say like The Mandalorian, which I think that's leading up to something. I I think bingeability would be nice and awesome to have, but I guess it also teaches you pacing and patience, and you get to theorize and sit on different episodes more and stuff like that. So it isn't all bad. I
Yeah.
mean, there's pros and cons to each one, you know.
Yeah.
See, so with the whole binging and the time thing, it's kind of like they're just going back to the TV model, because Netflix, when
Right.
things came out on there, the whole season would just drop that once. But then with TV, you'd have to watch it once a week. But then it's also the same thing with anime. When anime comes out, it comes out one episode a week, and sometimes in certain anime, they'll have, because those are generally like 23 episodes, or not episodes, 23 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But in some anime, the first couple episodes starts off at like 40 something. Like, I think in Fate, the first episode's like 40 something, and then the next one might be like 26 or 30 minutes, and then all the ones after that are like 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like build up, I guess, giving you backstory and introducing you to the different characters before they actually get into it. So like, I haven't seen The Mandalorian, but maybe it's doing something like that. It's hard to say how long what the actual length of time for the shows are going to be, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I guess it's such an unknown, and maybe even just so experimental that it could, maybe they're just experimenting with like each episode and what, I don't know, feels better, flows better. I guess for each event, right? Maybe an hour makes more sense, and is more self-contained, at least for what that episode had to say. But each episode, I mean, is clearly building onto something. And I mean, an interesting thought is, even with the Mandalorian, they could have did like that weekly episode. You think to like some shows on, I don't know, like CW, like The Flash and stuff. They do like a villain of the week type of deal. The Mandalorian could have did that approach with like the bounty of the week type of deal. You know what I mean?
Right.
Okay.
So, but I think Mandalorian is different because the story is leading to something, and it's like giving nuggets and stuff like that. So, and like developing characters and stuff like.
Okay. Yeah, but besides that, I don't have much else to add on to the Disney Plus besides some of the nostalgic shows that I remember watching. I don't know if they're on there. I might, like, if Dave the Barbarian and Brandy and Mr. Whiskers are on there, I might look at those two.
Yeah.
Dave the Barbarian was pretty cool. I remember, because that's one of those things where it was like I guess they're medieval. It's probably not even medieval for it to be a barbarian, but it's like a barbarian family, and it's just following their stupid antics. Like, I remember one time
Didn't he have a talking sword too?
I think so. I remember one of those things where he's like, he's gonna make, I think he said he was gonna make a megaphone or something like that, or he wanted to be able to talk to people, talk to a whole group of people. And he's like, first I need a megaphone, a string, and a squirrel. And then he literally just tied the squirrel to the megaphone, and that didn't do anything to it. He was just talking in a megaphone with the squirrel for no reason. I'm like, okay.
I hate to burst your bubble, but I controlled F the site that has all the listings of the shows, and Dave the Barbarian is not on there. So welcome to my boat, unfortunately, buddy.
They messing up. What about that Brandy and Mr. Whiskers?
It seems to be a top Google search too.
Fact.
Do you think you guys are gonna try to copy subscription, or probably just like mooch off a friend or something? Or
I think, at least for the, quite honestly, the Mandalorian, I might like stick with a subscription, mooch off a friend or something like that. But I think when the library builds up, though, for sure I'd be getting it, especially when my biggest draw is the Disney stuff, and I mean the Marvel stuff and the Star Wars stuff. So once that starts building up, I'm definitely gonna be watching. So I might
Yeah.
even start subscribing once the the Winter Soldier and Falcon series comes, because
Right.
Mandalorian would be complete then, and I would honestly probably rewatch it. I mean, it's still early. As we know with Game of Thrones, great starts, a terrible ending can ruin a great start. So we'll see though.
Will
Yeah.
you, Robino? You gonna cop?
See, I don't know. So you guys said it's free with Verizon, right?
It like involves a specific plan, so I'm not entirely sure.
And this is
Okay.
phones, by the
Yeah.
way.
Who's Xfinity through?
Xfinity is Comcast.
Yeah.
Aw. I was about to
But-
say maybe I could get something off my parents.
Nah, not this time.
At this time. But I mean, it's only $7.
Yeah, you making that money.
We all making money.
Yeah, that's fair. So you think it's a no go for now? No fly zone.
I mean, it's worth it. I might check out that Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been hearing
It's
a lot
really
about
good.
it.
Yeah.
It is really good.
You see,
I don't know why people are so like, is it Boba Fett? Is he Boba Fett? Like, bro, no. Who cares? Boba Fett is whack in the
He
movie.
fell in the pit and died.
Right. I know, in like the extra stuff, he's built out more. But Boba Fett, Jango Fett, all the Fett boys.
Jango was even softer than Boba Fett.
Yes, he whacked.
I think
Jango Fett got that head topped off.
I think he got because Boba Fett, he fell down and got eaten in a pit or whatever. That man Django got embarrassed.
Got that head topped off by Samuel L. Jackson.
Dang. Yup. Mace Windu gave him a fresh fade. I think I would for sure get Disney Plus if I wasn't like living by myself. You know what I mean?
What do you mean if you wasn't living by yourself?
Like, I think it would be like a fun thing to do. Like, if I was back at college and I'd be like, hey, it's a Disney movie Friday or something like that. You know what I mean? I think there'd be a lot more fun in it for me.
Well, have you saw what's trending recently, JT?
What's trending?
Disney Plus and Thrust. So why don't we bring
Disney Plus and Trust, huh?
a lady friend over?
Man.
You know how
Disney
much girls like
Plus
Disney.
and Thrust. Yeah, well, I can't do that if I'm like crying watching Up, or if you know what I mean. That
Seeing
that's not
someone die.
you know what I mean. And then like some of these Disney characters are a little thicker than they. I don't know if you've seen Lilo and Stitch, but his sister was thick, or her sister was hella thick. You ever seen Kim Possible? Shigo was thick.
Hey, it be like that sometimes though.
These cartoons are gonna be thicker than the girl I bring over. That's
You don't know how you feel about that?
I don't want them feeling insecure. Do you think
This is incredible.
Disney Plus? Oh, facts. You think Disney Plus is gonna eventually, since they kind of have Hulu partnered with them? You think they're gonna monopolize streaming as well? Since they are becoming a monopoly.
They
in general.
I don't-
can't monopolize it because
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll stretch that hard, but I do know for a fact. I think the biggest thing I don't think they'll take the streaming world by storm, because I think yes they got a lot of stake in Hulu now or whatever, but Netflix is still a powerhouse, and Netflix is still pumping out quality and just I think experimental type concepts and movies, because I think Netflix does really give a chance to, like, I don't know, just those indie type people or small time people that have like very abstract stuff that I don't think many studios would back. So I think Netflix is staying and Netflix will be around, and I don't think Disney Plus is going to destroy Netflix.
Gotcha.
And I don't think it's going to completely destroy Hulu either.
Yeah.
I guess one of the unknowns is Amazon.
I completely forgot that they had.
Right, right. But Amazon is making waves though. They got The Boys, right? The Boys, that series, which is a phenomenal series. You guys should also check that out. The Boys, and then I'm pretty sure they have the Man in the High Castle, I think, and I think that's wrapping up. I don't know how big that one is.
Okay.
Sneaky Pete is good. Just throwing that out there. But anywho, so they got that, and then I mean, what else do you have? I think what Disney really is going to gobble up though is uh, the movies. Okay,
Oh,
I saw the box office stuff, and literally the top 10 box office stuff, and the top 10 box office stuff, 8 of all of those movies was like Disney.
Mhm.
So like Disney controls like the box office like hardcore.
Right.
And
It goes
I've
with
also,
those memes.
and I also saw how like sometimes for movie theaters like that for like Disney could say, hey, to show Star Wars for us, you have to show Star Wars for 6 weeks, right?
Mhm.
In all your biggest theaters, and you can't change it if you want to show Star Wars at all, right? So for a big movie theater, right? No, that's not going to be a big deal, right? But for say a small movie theater, right, that might be a big issue because they might not have the capacity for all that, or they might, you know, uh, want to show different movies. You know what I'm saying? But no movie theater is not going to give up the opportunity to show Star Wars, right? Because bring in lots of money and lots of people, right?
Mhm.
Same thing with the Marvel movie, stuff like that. So if I think if they can really control the market like that in terms of the movie theaters and stuff like that, that would, just be shitty and suck hardcore. And then yeah, that's
Now,
that.
do you think with the addition of Disney Plus, they're gonna put Redbox out of business?
I don't think Redbox is going anyway either. I mean, box
Yeah.
placed in such convenient locations and has pretty recent movies and good selections, and they got games.
Yeah.
You go to Redbox and rent Madden for a night or something.
The concept of Redbox is just kind of funny now. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's like
I was-
everything's streaming, everything. You know.
I was telling
Even with the Google Stadia thing, that's
right.
game
Mhm.
streaming.
I was talking about before with GameFly, right? You remember?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I
You
remember.
I remember
GameFly?
them.
Right, and I was like, are they even still around? And then I could have sworn I heard a commercial for GameFly right after.
It's like
I
your
think
phone when you
it's
The
Google
government
something,
spies on you.
it hits you with the ads. But basically what Flyman was saying, it's almost like it makes you think of those memes with Mickey Mouse, and he has the Infinity Gauntlet, and he's just adding everything to it.
Yeah, I mean, in reality, when I think about it, in terms of like the biggest like uh, movie companies that bring in, I mean, we still have what Sony left, like Lionsgate and
Yeah.
Warner Brothers, and stuff like that. And speaking of Warner Brothers, we also got that streaming service they're about to launch with HBO Max, stuff like that.
Oh.
Oh, we gonna be able to see
and-
the Looney Tunes?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, Rob.
That's
They're-
that's my thing. I'm getting on that.
They are bringing the Looney Tunes back, and they're bringing lots of stuff back and developing like DC series and stuff like that. So it sounds very promising.
But are they gonna have the banned Looney Tunes episodes?
I don't know if they are, but I do know they are. They said they're going to be making new Looney Tune episodes, but it's going to be the old format of like the classic Looney Tunes.
I'm trying to see that Belvedere on the plantation.
And I think they're doing Yogi Bear and Crew. I don't know if you're a
That's
fan of that.
that's Hanna-Barbera, I think.
Yeah, like Yogi Bear and Jellystone.
Warner
Park.
Brothers owns Hanna-Barbera. That's like Flintstones and Jetsons and all that.
Oh, They might. Do they?
I don't know.
Those are all like those boomerang shows, right?
Yeah. A lot of the Boomerang shows are Hanna-Barbera.
Right.
Like Dexter's Laboratory, I think, is Hanna-Barbera. Never mind. I could be wrong on that one. I don't know.
Hey yo, boo boo. Johnny question.
Let me get a big. Yeah.
What?
I don't think you said anything.
What?
You ain't never heard Yogi say that?
No.
Not like that.
It's like you didn't even finish the thought.
I didn't. I messed up and it was just like, nah. In the middle of it, just nah, I'm not going to correct it.
It is Warner Brothers. Hanna-Barbera has Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. We had a pretty wonderful discussions today. It's been great. It's your boy Flyman.
It's your boy JT, Just Tilton.
And you already know me, the Great Robino.
And yo. Always remember, respect the tilt.
Respect.